name is Shin, and I'm here with Jabs and her amazing art. And she's going to tell us a little bit more about her design process and aesthetic.
Yeah, hello everybody. Nice to see you, meet you. It's been lovely already talking to you. Hi everybody. So yeah, my design process, my aesthetic, a lot of it honestly just comes from like things that I love that I know I want to like make something with. And I'm kind of like, all right, how do I take this out of my brain? How do I take like pizza, burgers, and like make it into something that's like a tangible item that other people will vibe with? And sometimes it's like, as I told you, super serious, and it has to do with like a more serious subject matter. Sometimes it's a silly like burger pin that like, it just has a derpy little face, and that's all that it is. It's just I've taken my love for burgers, I made a pin out of it. Sometimes it's something I really enjoy doing in one of my programs. I use Illustrator a lot, so I use the pen blade. I'm sorry, pen blade. Pen blade is the pen, which is what I made based on my love for the pen tool in Illustrator. It worked out because I also have a love for gaming, and you know, a lot of games utilize swords. I'm a fan of Kingdom Hearts and other games that have various types of swords. So I made a sword pin that was in the shape of like a pen, which worked out for people who are writers. For me, it's the pen tool in Illustrator. For others, it's the pen is mightier than the sword. It works out both ways. But yeah, there's like kind of a various, from the derpy to the serious. I have like stuff that I think is really meaningful to me, my community, my queer community. And then I think I have stuff that just like we all kind of vibe with and find amusing or like punny or whatever.
I love like how a lot of your work is symmetrical. I know I was talking with you about this before, but I appreciate the symmetry because, I don't know, we just have like in it 8D. Things to be symmetrical. When they're a tiny bit out of place, it's like...
Totally. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think like symmetry is so satisfying. There's something so like comforting about it. But I've also come into the realm of appreciating like asymmetry, and it's really like my mood. Like sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that's symmetrical. I'm so happy about it. Sometimes I really just love like kind of breaking that structure and feeling like maybe in moments it's like a little too sterile. Not sterile like it doesn't bring me joy, but sometimes I'm like, you know what, I need this to be asymmetrical. Like I need this to have a little bit more fluidity. I need it to feel a little bit more organic. I don't want it to feel so like mechanical. And symmetry is wonderful and beautiful, but depending on what you're doing, sometimes it can be a little like robotic, or like it just feels like machine made. And I guess I am kind of a machine. I, as a designer, can just like pump it out, but sometimes it's nice to just let go and like let it be like not perfect.
Yeah, that's sometimes like the best.
Yeah.
The best pieces, what they made are like organized.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What are your hopes for like your designs and stuff? Like what are you hoping? Do you want to like try and make it into like the fashion industry, maybe getting it on like name brand things and selling it like that?
That'd be cool. I mean, Glitch Bitch to me has always been something that just brings me like joy and freedom from what I do on the day-to-day. So I work as a designer for a full-service creative agency and ad agency called Madwell. Not Madewell, not the fashion house, but Madwell, and they're dope as hell. They're in Bushwick. I get to do a lot of cool stuff with a lot of big brands, but that also kind of comes with a lot of like cornering. You know, like I think as a designer, when you're working with clients, especially big corporate clients, like even some of the small clients, everybody has their cup of tea. Art is subjective to everybody. Everybody can look at one thing and be like, I want that, but not really understand what they want. So sometimes when I'm working in that environment, we try to steer clients clear of like either bad design or something that doesn't make sense for their brand aesthetically or like whatever it is. You know, you have that moment where the client is like, you know, I don't really care. Like I've hired you as a professional, but I also have my opinions and that matters more to me. So you kind of have that battle of like, you've hired me, so you should listen to me, but then maybe they don't. So Glitch Bitch to me has kind of been my response as a designer to just like, not just like my workplace and clients who don't agree with me, but to the world and like things that that make me feel sad. This brings back a semblance of control, and it allows me to have that freedom to be like, look, even if it's not the best design in the world, even if it's not like something that like totally hits the mark, it means something to me, maybe it'll mean something to others. If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, no worries. It's something that, again, I kind of say Glitch Bitch is like my design diary to the world. Like, if it comes into my head and I think it's meaningful, and as long as I'm respectful of like whatever it is, you know, which I tend to be, like I'm always mindful of like, okay, I'm making this thing, I'm making sure that it's like, if it is a more serious thing, it's respecting that individual. So I have a pin that says, gaslight this. You know, and for many people, we know what gaslighting is. Hopefully more people don't know what it, like have personal experiences with it, but a lot of us do. So that's something that's very serious. So, you know, like when you're making something like that, kind of having that respect for an individual who has been gaslighted, who can wear this as like a badge of honor and feel good about it, rather than see that and be like, oh, like they totally missed the mark, like they're not respecting people who are gaslight. You know, and it's just a pin, but you never know, like somebody, like you never know how something can strike somebody. So, honestly, to me, again, it's just, I'm always just trying to put something out there that made me feel good, and hopefully it makes somebody else feel good. If it gets to a bigger thing, great. If it doesn't, totally cool. Glitch Bitch just like is what it is. It brings its own life to itself, and for me, as long as it continues to like feed itself and feed me as like my soul, great. I'd love to give it more, and I keep trying to push it where I can. But doing the other things I do, I can only give so much time to it. But maybe one day, like as it goes, like maybe I can give more and more time to it and then like have it grow in that way. But I've also learned a lot recently, and the biggest thing I've learned is to like nourish something you love when you have the time to love and nourish it, but also know when to back off and be like, you know what, I need time. And I think as artists, we struggle with like finding the time to say no and say I need to step away from this so I can come back to it and give it like even more strength and passion and like, you know, like nourishment. So I give Glitch Bitch what I can, it gives me what it wants to give me back, and then I'm gonna keep going forward and see what happens.
Great.
Yeah.
You're like an inspiration to like people like me and other artists out there, because I know that you said that you were doing your work, and this is basically like a nice little break away from that.
Yeah.
And that this gives you some semblance of control, and you're like a beacon to everyone who's trying to balance like their work life.
It's hard. It's not like an easy thing, and thank you so much for saying that. And I'm not like great at it. I just try. Just like all of us, I'm just trying. We're all just trying. Like, and there's times where I'm very overwhelmed. And the biggest thing I've learned recently is like saying no to more things, taking a step back and really acknowledging when I'm like, I can't handle this much. So I've taken big breaks from this, and I used to feel bad about it. Like I used to feel bad about not posting for like a month or something. But then I was just like, you know what? Like that's not what this is. This is supposed to feel good. And if it's not feeling good, so for like you or anybody else, your art's supposed to feel good. And if it starts to not feel good for you, like you need to take a step back. You need to go, you need to come to it and love it like when you can, you know what I mean? Like, because then you're not loving yourself, and then that's not gonna, you're not gonna produce the work that's gonna like feel good or maybe even look good because you're just tired.
Exactly.
Yeah, so. What
do you have to say to anybody who wants to like follow in your footsteps, or they're just starting out and they see you trying hard? Do you have any like words of encouragement?
I mean, I had a teacher in school tell me, you start by starting, and those words to me have like, or I guess that phrase to me has always followed me, because I'll have like artist block. It'll be hard for me to like start something. You know, either I'm not like super excited about it, or like I don't feel ready yet, or I start out and I'm like, oh God, it's just not looking good. I need to step away. Again, it's like being like, I can do that, and like feeling comfortable when to start a thing. So even starting this, it's like I was in the dark. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know who to go for like production. Like I didn't know like what booth stuff I needed. I didn't know what packaging stuff I needed, but I learned as I went. Like the first place I went to print my pins, they weren't great, and I didn't really understand it, and they told me things that they're like, oh, you can't do this when you make pins, that today I'm like, oh, they just didn't do it. They just didn't have the capabilities of doing that stuff. But again, you learn. So I think a lot of people, when they want to start something, they go into it and they're like, oh, I want to be like, they see people and they're like, I want to be at that level right off the bat. And that's daunting as hell, because like, if you're trying to go at something and be at like the expert level, like that's not going to happen. You have to like make your way to that point. So I think if I'm telling anybody anything, start, make one pin or one sticker, who cares? Like, and if that's all you made and that's the only thing you're selling, you did it. Congratulations, like you've started, you know, and that's it. Even if you just sketch it out and you don't get to the finishing process of like getting it as like a product, you've started. Like, give yourself a pat on the back, way to go, and keep going. Like, congratulate yourself for every step. Don't feel bad if you need to take a break and take time away from it. You'll get to that finish line. Like, just take the time, because I think a lot of people burn out like crazy. So take the time, start with one thing. It was really helpful for me because I started this with a best friend of mine who's no longer a part of it, it's just me now. But we'd started it together, and that was, I don't know if I ever would have started it without him. Like, I'd always wanted to do something like this, but I also felt discouraged, scared, didn't know where to start. So having him was definitely a huge inspiration, and it very much encouraged me to get going. So it is nice having somebody, but now being in it, I know I could have done it on my own, knowing what I know now. And again, what I tell others is if you are on your own, if you're starting on your own, just start. Start by starting, see where you go.
Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much
of course.
sage advice.
I'm glad you think they are wise.
And thank you again for talking about your work and your process.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to
I know you're
me.
really busy. I see you're like really popular. You're
I'm
blowing up.
chilling.
Time out of this.
No, of course. Thank you for caring to talk to me. I mean, it's like part of the reason we do all this is to talk to like-minded people and be like, and just like, you know, vibe off each other, feel inspired by each other. Like, that's why we do it.
So I hope that we'll be able to like help promote your stuff, even though I know you said that like you could go either way, and this is more of like a nice little relaxing project for you. But we still want to try to promote.
Thank you.
As best we can.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna keep going. Like as long as people feel what I feel with it, it's gonna keep living. You know? Yeah. So thank you.
So much.
Yay! Thanks everybody.